Today I'm looking at the Soundcore P30i wireless earbuds. Why? It's actually a very valid question. Living in a loft during the pandemic, and working from home, both over the desk of me and my partner at the time were next to each other. Now I'm lucky because in general I maybe would only have 1 or 2 meetings a week. But I needed to be in my own world and focus on what I'm doing. So I got a pair of Bose QC35 version 2. And to be honest, I tried the Sony, I tried the brand, but Bose were the only pair that can stay on my ear all day and actually not hurt my ear. If I put the noise cancelling at low, yeah, you feel a little in your ears, the pressure, but it's not bad versus high. So I basically use those and wear them all day. Now, the fact that the battery life was maybe 20 hours was also a plus. So I end up getting a pair for running and, having errands and things like that. And I end up when we got back at the office, basically only using my AirPod Pro, rarely bringing the Bose. Now, I do like having the full sound around you and being in your bubble with headphones. But the noise cancelling and the comfort of the AirPods were enough that I was yeah, I don't really feel that I need to carry a pair of headphones with me. No, it was interesting because Apple was basically saying that they feel that AirPods should last only a year or two. And I didn't really get that, but with my AirPod Pro, they had a recall, so I went at the Apple store to test them and they both failed. So they changed the AirPods, but I kept the case. And I was in a giant mall, and as soon as I put them back and put the noise cancelling, I was like, oh my God, this is so different because, I dropped them, they went in water, they went I treat my AirPod really poorly, and in one ear they always seems to fall, even if I try any different size. So I just accept it. But I could see the difference that the noise cancelling to transparency mode was almost doing no difference. And from time to time I start getting static, but it's been maybe 2 years they've been changed and maybe 4 years having them. So I know I wanted to change them. But I was waiting for the AirPod Pro version 3 because the two have been out for a year or two, and I was yeah, there's so many rumors Apple are gonna release new one. So I was just waiting for it. But during the holiday, a family member were oh, I wish I had some kind of headphones or earbuds that I could use for my tablet and it would be simple to connect. If someone is watching TV next to me, and I was well, I would recycle my AirPods because they're not working super great, but you don't hear the static most of the time. It's only on the subway or when the noise cancelling is trying to do something. So I gave this family member my AirPod with I bought a pair of new ear tips and gave them to them, and they were super happy. But then a couple of days later, I was oh shit, I'm going to CES now. I need some kind of headphones or something, and I didn't have time for the AirPod to get home. I could have gone to the Apple store, but because I had point, I was let's try I've been trying really expensive headphones, well, in the $300 to $500 range. I know you can go in the thousand, but I was what is in 2026 a good pair of basic one? What do you get and is it good? So I looked quick, and the Soundcore was on rating list, I think for the P60i as good budget noise cancelling one, but I didn't want to pay $70 when I knew I would buy AirPods anyways. But they had the P30i for 35 Canadian, so maybe 25 USD, and I was okay, there's noise cancelling, there's 45 hours of battery life if you use the case, but 10 hours of battery life if you just, for the earbuds. And I was okay, let's try something completely different. So while I'm at CES, I have something if I may call or listen to music and in the plane. So, and I was oh, let's try something that has color in it, just to spice it up a little. So I ended up getting that pair in blue and brought me to CES, but I could have returned them after, but I'm not a big fan of returning an item that, kind of renting a camera or renting a camera is fine if you go to a place where they rent them. But I mean, like using Best Buy or Amazon to buy something and a week later return it. So, but I also wanted to give them a good try. So I decided to use them only, that's my only headphones or AirPods for the month, the only headset I would use. So I actually did end up doing 6 weeks with it at the airport, at home, but like didn't open the box or anything. So let's do a quick unboxing and let's talk about them. Okay, let's do a quick unboxing and look at them. The first thing that they mention on the box is powerful sound. That's debatable, but they mention a 4 microphone for clear call. And I use them on my phone and on Zoom call, and no one complained about the sound quality. People are like, yeah, it sounds like you're on a phone, but this is fine. They also put focus on the 2-in-1 with the case, and clearly that was one of the feature I end up using the most, that I was surprised how much I like it. 10 hour of battery life and 45 with the case. So 10 is plenty for like headphone. My AirPod Pro only had like 5. And like you can see here, the 2-in-1 for the case. The fact that it's built into the case means you don't need to carry anything around, which is great. We can see there with the box open here. You have 3 sizes for the ear tip. I switched them to the small, but it's always what I do. They came with a USB-A to USB-C, but already a cable, but already have like USB-C cable plug everywhere, so I didn't use the cable. The case is thicker than my AirPod Pro case, but it's still quite small and easy to carry around. We can see here the headphones and their case. And I really like how small they are. They're super light and they do feel comfortable, though I wouldn't wear them for like 4 or 5 hours, except when I did in my flight for Vegas. But I didn't get any pain from them, so I think they're comfortable, but of course your mileage may vary. Now, their apps is super intuitive to use. I'm assuming they use the same app for all their earbuds or headphones. You can switch between transparency and noise canceling. You can switch the sound effect and the signature. You can modify all the gesture for control if you want the volume up and down or taking calls or not. Everything there feels logical and well laid out. Now, interestingly, I paid $35, but they're not on the Anker website anymore, so I'm assuming they discontinue and not on sale. There's the P31i that are like $69.99 now. I do feel that they're trying to hit every price point, but there are so many of them that it kind of get confusing after a while. Okay, so what do I think of the Soundcore P30i? Well, I think it's a mixed bag. There's a lot to like there. I do like that they're mostly flat on my ears, and if I use a small piece for the small size for the piece for the headset, they are comfortable. I wouldn't wear them for 5 or 6 hours, but they are quite comfortable. No, they don't seem to fall that often if I tie my shoes or something like that, which seems better than the AirPod. The 10 hours battery life was impressive versus, the 5 you get with the AirPod Pro, because did my full flight for Vegas, and they were still at like, it's a 5-hour flight, and they were like still like at half. So they have great battery life. The best feature, weirdly, is that the fact that you can open the case like that and use it as a stand for your phone. The fact that it's built in the case is pretty good. It's USB-C and you get 45 hours of charging. So there's a lot of that I like there. But the two main, and the apps is pretty well done. But I guess the two things I didn't really like much is that when I start playing, like as soon as I put them and start playing music, I was like, oh, they don't sound great at all. So that was the first problem. Now, of course, like playing with the equalizer, they have a lot of profile, and I don't like the default Soundcore signature. But if I put it at acoustic, then it seems to boost the voice. And even if I'm listening to metal, I was like, this is fine. Now, the other thing is the noise cancelling. I feel it's almost inexistent. I try it in loud crowd, in transportation, or at home with like air conditioning or something like, or the heating on, and it's almost don't remove noise. Even if you put it to level 5, it goes to 1 to 5. I try adaptative, I try like to play a bunch, and it's maybe it gets smudge of sound off, but almost none that I would be saying, it's almost non-existent. Now, maybe it's product differentiation, so like if I got the pair at $150, that would be amazing. But I would just wanted to see what you get for like $35 if you just need a pair of cheap headphones. And the thing is that if I go around it, it's like sometimes I would grab them like for a quick meeting. It's the first thing that is on my desk and just go for it. Or I would let them connect to my computer. So if I have a call, I can just take that and my AirPod would stay like in the case, or they would stay connected to my other device. So I'm still using them. So I didn't return them. And I still think that for $35, you get a lot. They have a lot of things they get right. It's just that if you don't expect great noise canceling, so remove that in the feature. But I mean, you get 10 hour, like you can use them all day for 10 hours and there's still gonna be 3 charge in the case. So that's pretty amazing for that. Now, like I said, the sound's not great, but after 30 seconds, like if I use my AirPods or my headset and switch the same song in the middle, yeah, I'll be like, oh, this is bad. But after 20 seconds, like, walking around or like shopping or even running, I'm like, yeah, this is fine. My music doesn't sound great, but whatever. We all knew that like I would switch back to the AirPod Pro 3. One last thing I want to say though, like I did miss the integration with Apple device. The fact that your AirPods just show up like on your phone as soon as you open them. You see the battery usage. I go sit in front of the Apple TV and the TV and it say, hey, I detect your AirPod, want to connect them. So I miss this integration. But of course, this is not Soundcore fault. That's Apple keeping you in their walled garden with the best feature. So I'm not going to blame them for not having that. But when I got back my AirPod, I was like, oh, I miss this seamless like synchronization with all my device. Thanks for watching.